Welcome. In this video, I am going to solve these set of questions. So first, let us start with question number 1. Question number 1 is 8 by 18 multiplied to 6 by 32. So in question number 1, the fraction 8 by 18 is getting multiplied to the fraction 6 by 32. So this question is all about multiplication of fractions. So this question is related to multiplication of fractions. Now here the fraction 8 by 18 is a proper fraction, and the fraction 6 by 32 is also a proper fraction. So in question number 1, both the fractions that are getting multiplied to each other are proper fraction. So one proper fraction is getting multiplied to another proper fraction. So one proper fraction that is getting multiplied to another proper fraction. Now, there are a few steps that are involved in the process of multiplication of fractions to get the final answer. So what are those steps? So first I will write down the question. 8 by 18 multiplied to 6 by 32. So step number 1 is label all the numerators separately and label all the denominators separately. So step number 1 is label all the numerators separately and label all the denominators separately. So let us label all the numerators separately, and then we will label all the denominators separately. So here the numerators are 8 and 6. So let us label them separately. So let us say 8 is A and 6 is B. So we have labeled both the numerators separately. And now let us label the denominators separately. So let us say the denominator 18 is P and the denominator 32 is Q. So we have labeled both the denominators separately. So we have labeled both the numerators separately as A and B, and we have labeled both the denominators separately as P and Q. Now step number 2. Step number 2 is form all possible pairs of numerator and denominator. In step number 2, we have to form all possible pairs of numerator and denominator. So let us form all the possible pairs of numerator and denominator. So 8 and 18, this is one pair of numerator and denominator. So 8 and 18 is one pair of numerator and denominator. So AP is one of the pairs of numerator and denominator. So one pair is AP. This is one pair of numerator denominator. Another pair of numerator denominator is 8 and 32. 8 and 32 is another pair of numerator and denominator. So AQ is another pair of numerator and denominator. So AQ. Then 6 and 18. This is another pair of numerator and denominator. 6 and 18 is another pair of numerator and denominator. So BP is a pair of numerator and denominator. And then 6 and 32. This is another pair of numerator and denominator. So 6 and 32 is another pair of numerator and denominator. So BQ is another pair of numerator and denominator. So these are the 4 possible pairs of numerator and denominator for question number 1. And the most easy method to form all the possible pairs of numerator and denominator is take one numerator and at a time and form all the possible numerator denominator pairs with that numerator. So take the numerator 8 at a time and form all the possible numerator denominator pairs with this numerator. So for 8, the possible numerator denominator pairs are 8 and 18 and 8 and 32. And then after 8, go to the next numerator. In this case, it is 6. And then form all the possible numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 6. So for 6, the possible numerator denominator pair is 6 and 18 and 6 and 32. So that is the most efficient way of forming all the possible pairs of numerator and denominator. So after forming all the possible pairs of numerator and denominator, step number 3 is reduce all the pairs that are formed in step 2 to their lowest form. So step 3 is reduce all the pairs that are formed in step 2 to their lowest form or simplest form. So we have to reduce all the numerator denominator pairs that we have formed in step 2 to their lowest form. So let us now start solving step number 3. So the first pair is AP. AP means 8 by 18. This is the first pair. So we have to reduce this pair to its lowest form. So 8 by 18. AP is 8 by 18. So we have to reduce 8 by 18 to its lowest form. So 8 and 18 are both divisible by 2. So I will divide both 8 and 18 by 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4 and 18 divided by 2 is 9. So I am getting 4 by 9, and 4 by 9 I cannot reduce it any further. So this is the lowest form of AP. So the pair AP, its lowest form is 4 by 9. So this pair I have reduced it to its lowest form. So this has been solved. Now the next pair is AQ. AQ. So now A is 4 and Q is 32. So 4 by 32. I have to reduce 4 by 32 to its lowest form, because now A is 4. It is no longer 8. It is now 4 and Q is 32. So 4 by 32. We have to reduce it to its lowest form. 4 and 32 both are divisible by 4. So I will divide both 4 and 32 by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1 and 32 divided by 4 is 8. So 1 and 8, and this is the lowest form of A and Q. So 1 by 8, this is the lowest form of A and Q. You cannot reduce it any further. So AQ is also solved. We have reduced it to its lowest form. After AQ we have BP. B is 6, P is 9. So we have to reduce BP to its lowest form. B is 6, P is 9. P is no longer 18, P is 9 now. So BP is 6 by 9, and we have to reduce 6 by 9 to its lowest form. Both 6 and 9 are divisible by 3. So I will divide both 6 and 9 by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So 2 by 3. And now you cannot reduce it any further. So BP in its lowest form is 2 by 3. So we have reduced BP also to its lowest form. And then at last is BQ. B is 2 and Q is 8. B is no longer 6, B is now 2, and Q is no longer 32, it is 8. So BQ is 2 by 8. We have to reduce 2 by 8 to its lowest form. Both 2 and 8 are divisible by 2. So I will divide both 2 and 8 by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1 and 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 1 by 4, and this is the lowest form of BQ, 1 by 4. So BQ also we have reduced it to its lowest form. So all the 4 possible pairs in step number 2 we have reduced it to its lowest form. And now the final step. The final step is multiply all the numerator to get the numerator answer, and multiply all the denominator to get the denominator answer. So what do we mean by step number 4? Multiply all the numerator to get the numerator answer, and multiply all the denominators to get the denominator answer. So multiply all the numerators to get the numerator answer. So now here, what are the numerators? A is 1 and B is also 1. So we have to multiply the numerator 1 with 1. 1 into 1 is 1. So the numerator answer is 1. When we multiply both the numerators, we get 1. So the numerator answer is 1. 1 into 1 is 1. So our numerator answer is 1. And now multiply all the denominators to get the denominator answer. So in the denominator we are having P as 3 and Q as 4. So we have to multiply 3 with 4. So 3 into 4 is 12. So the denominator answer is 12 because 3 into 4 is 12. So the denominator answer is 12. And this is the answer for question number 1. 1 by 12. 1 by 12 is the answer for question number 1. So this is how you do multiplication of fractions. And now let us do the other questions of this same category to help us understand this concept better. So question number 2 is 15 by 22 multiplied to 55 by 64 multiplied to 12 by 25. So here the fraction 15 by 22 is getting multiplied to the fraction 55 by 64, which is again getting multiplied to the fraction 12 by 25. So this question is all about multiplication of fractions. So multiplication of fractions. Now in this question, 15 by 22 is a proper fraction, 55 by 64 is also a proper fraction, and 12 by 25 is also a proper fraction. So all the three fractions that are getting multiplied to each other are proper fractions. All the three fractions that are getting multiplied to each other are proper fractions. Now let me write down this question again. So 15 by 22 multiplied to 55 by 64 multiplied to 12 by 25. So what is step number 1? Step number 1 is label all the numerators separately and label all the denominators separately. So first let us label all the numerators separately and then we will label all the denominators separately. So the numerators are 15, 55 and 12. So let us say 15 is A, 55 is B and 12 is C. So we have labeled all the numerators separately as A, B, C. Now let us label all the denominators separately. The denominators are 22, 64 and 25. So let us say 22 is P, 64 is Q and 25 is R. So we have labeled all the denominators separately as P, Q and R. Now step number 2 is form all possible pairs of numerator and denominator. So we have to form all possible pairs of numerator and denominator. So first let us start with the numerator 15, which is A. So 15 by 22, this is one pair of numerator and denominator, 15 by 22. We have started with the numerator 15. So first we will form all the numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 15. So one pair is 15 by 22. So one of the possible pairs of numerator and denominator is 15 by 22, which is A by P. So AP is one of the pairs of numerator and denominator. Now with 15 as the numerator, the another pair of numerator and denominator is 15 by 64. 15 by 64 is another pair of numerator and denominator. So AQ is another pair of numerator and denominator. So AQ. Then 15 by 25. This is another pair of numerator and denominator. So AR is another pair of numerator and denominator. So with numerator 15, these are the possible pairs of numerator and denominator. With numerator 15, you can form these three pairs of numerator and denominator. One pair is 15 by 22, so AP. Another pair is 15 by 64, so AQ. And another pair is 15 by 25, so AR. Now let us take the numerator 55 and form all possible numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 55. So one numerator denominator pair is 55 by 22, so BP is one numerator denominator pair with numerator 55. Another numerator denominator pair with numerator 55 is 55 by 64, so BQ. This is another numerator denominator pair with numerator 55. And then another numerator denominator pair with numerator 55 is 55 by 25, so BR. So these three are numerator denominator pairs with numerator 55. One is 55 by 22, another is 55 by 64, another is 55 by 25. Now let us take the numerator 12 and form all possible numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 12. So 12 by 22, this is one numerator denominator pair, so CP. Then 12 by 64, this is another numerator denominator pair, CQ. And then 12 by 25, this is another numerator denominator pair, so CR. So these three are numerator denominator pairs with the numerator 12. One is 12 by 22, another is 12 by 64, another is 12 by 25. And these are all the possible pairs of numerator and denominator for question number 2. Now the next step is reduce all the pairs that are formed in step 2 to their lowest form. So we have to reduce all these pairs of numerator and denominator to their lowest form. So let us start solving it. So first numerator denominator pair is AP, so 15 by 22. Now 15 by 22 you cannot reduce it any further. 15 by 22, this numerator denominator pair, you cannot reduce it any further, so this will be as it is. So AP is already reduced to its lowest form. We cannot reduce it any further. The next pair is AQ, 15 by 64. Now 15 by 64 also you cannot reduce it any further. So 15 by 64 is already in its reduced form. We cannot reduce it any further. So AQ will be as it is. Then we have AR, 15 by 25. Yes, 15 by 25 we can reduce it to its lowest form because both 15 and 25 are divisible by 5. So we will divide both 15 and 25 by 5 and reduce it to its lowest form. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So 3 by 5. And now we cannot reduce it any further. So AR in its lowest form is 3 by 5. So we have reduced AR also in its lowest form. Next is BP, 55 by 22. Now 55 by 22 we can reduce it to its lowest form because both 55 and 22 are divisible by 11. So we will divide both 55 and 22 by 11 and reduce it to its lowest form. 55 divided by 11 is 5. 22 divided by 11 is 2. So 55 by 22 in its lowest form is 5 by 2. So BP is reduced to its lowest form. It is 5 by 2. Now BQ. So 5 by 64 because B is now 5. It is no longer 55. B is 5. So BQ is 5 by 64. Now 5 by 64 you cannot reduce it to its lowest form. This is already in its lowest form. You cannot reduce it any further. So BQ is already in its lowest form. 5 by 64. Then we have BR. B is 5. R is also 5. So 5 by 5. Yes, 5 by 5 we can reduce it to its lowest form because both of them are divisible by 5. So we will divide both of them by 5 and reduce it to its lowest form. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So BR becomes 1 by 1 and this is the lowest form. So we have reduced BR also to its lowest form. Next is CP. C is 12. P is 2. P is no longer 22. P is 2. So C is 12. P is 2. And 12 by 2 we can reduce it to its lowest form because both are divisible by 2. So we will divide both of them by 2 and reduce it to its lowest form. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 6 by 1. And now we cannot reduce it any further. So 6 by 1. So CP is 6 by 1 in its lowest form. Then it is CQ. C is 6. Q is 64. 6 by 64. Yes, we can reduce 6 by 64 to its lowest form because both are divisible by 2. Both 6 and 64 are divisible by 2. So we can reduce it to its lowest form by dividing both of them by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3 and 64 divided by 2 is 32. So CQ in its lowest form becomes 3 by 32. And now you cannot reduce it any further. 3 by 32 you cannot reduce it any further. So CQ has already been reduced to its lowest form. Next is CR. C is 3, R is 1. 3 by 1. You cannot reduce 3 by 1 to its lowest form. It is already in its lowest form. So CR is already in its lowest form. So we have reduced all the numerator denominator pairs to their lowest form. And now step number 4 is multiply all the numerators to get the numerator answer and multiply all the denominators to get the denominator answer. So numerator A is 3, numerator B is 1, numerator C is 3. So 3 into 1 into 3. So 3 into 1 is 3, 3 into 3 is 9. So the numerator answer is 9 upon multiply all the denominators to get the denominator answer. Denominator P is 1, denominator Q is 32, denominator R is also 1. So 1 into 32 into 1. 1 into 32 is 32. 32 into 1 is 32. So denominator is 32. So 9 by 32. This is the answer for question number 2. Now let us go to question number 3. 5 by 8 multiplied to 13 by 7. So in this question, the fraction 5 by 8 is getting multiplied to the fraction 13 by 7. So this is a question of multiplication of fractions. So in this question, 5 by 8 is a proper fraction, whereas 13 by 7 is an improper fraction. So one proper fraction is getting multiplied to another improper fraction. So one proper fraction is getting multiplied to another improper fraction. Now I will write down the question. So 5 by 8 multiplied to 13 by 7. So step number 1 is label all the numerators separately and label all the denominators separately. So first we will label all the numerators separately and then we will label all the denominators separately. So here the numerators are 5 and 13. So let us label them separately. Let us say 5 is A and let us say 13 is B. So the numerators are A and B. Now let us label the denominators separately. So the denominators are 8 and 7. So let us say 8 is P and 7 is Q. So we have labeled the denominators as P and Q. Now step number 2 is form all possible pairs of numerator and denominator. So we have to form all possible pairs of numerator and denominator. So let us take first the numerator 5 and form all possible numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 5. So one numerator denominator pair is 5 by 8. So 5 by 8 is AP. So this is one numerator denominator pair, AP. Another numerator denominator pair with numerator 5 is 5 by 7. So this is AQ. So AQ is another numerator denominator pair with numerator 5. So with numerator 5, these are the two pairs of numerator and denominator, 5 by 8 and 5 by 7. Now let us take the numerator 13 and form numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 13. So one numerator denominator pair is 13 by 8. So BP. And another numerator denominator pair is 13 by 7. So BQ. So these are the two numerator denominator pairs with the numerator 13. One is 13 by 8 and another is 13 by 7. So we have formed all the possible numerator denominator pairs. Step number 3 is reduce all the pairs that are formed in step 2 to their lowest form. So we have to reduce all these 4 numerator denominator pairs to their lowest form. So first pair is AP. A is 5, P is 8. So 5 by 8. We cannot reduce 5 by 8 any further. So 5 by 8 is already in its lowest form. We cannot reduce it any further. So this pair is already reduced to its lowest form. Next pair is AQ. AQ. So 5 by 7. We cannot reduce 5 by 7 any further. We cannot reduce AQ any further. This is already in their lowest form. So we cannot reduce it any further. So AQ is already in its lowest form. Next pair is BP. B is 13, P is 8. 13 by 8. 13 by 8 also you cannot reduce it any further. This is already in its lowest form. So BP is also in its lowest form. Next numerator denominator pair is BQ. BQ 13 by 7. This also cannot be reduced any further. So BQ is already in its lowest form. It cannot be reduced any further. So all the 4 numerator denominator pairs were already in their lowest form and we cannot reduce it any further. Now step number 4 is multiply all the numerators to get the numerator answer and multiply all the denominators to get the denominator answer. So first let us multiply the numerators to get the numerator answer. So 5 into 13. 5 into 13 is 65. So the numerator answer is 65. And now let us multiply all the denominators to get the denominator answer. 8 into 7. 8 into 7 is 56. So the denominator answer is 56. So 65 by 56. This is the answer for question number 3. Now let us go to question number 4. 3 1 by 3 multiplied to 5 1 by 2 multiplied to 6 by 11. So here the fraction 3 1 by 3 is getting multiplied to the fraction 5 1 by 2, which is getting multiplied to the fraction 6 by 11. So this is a question of multiplication of fractions. Now here the fraction 3 1 by 3 is a mixed fraction, the fraction 5 1 by 2 is also a mixed fraction, and the fraction 6 by 11 is a proper fraction. So what I will do is, first I will convert these two mixed fractions into improper fractions. So let us do it. So 3 1 by 3, when I convert this mixed fraction into improper fraction, it becomes 3 into 3 is 9, 9 plus 1 is 10, so 10 by 3. So 3 1 by 3, this mixed fraction I have converted into a improper fraction. So 3 1 by 3 became 10 by 3. Multiplied to 5 1 by 2. This is also a mixed fraction. So we will convert this mixed fraction into improper fraction. So 5 1 by 2 will become 5 into 2 is 10. 10 plus 1 is 11. So 11 by 2. So 5 1 by 2, this mixed fraction, when I convert it into improper fraction, it becomes 11 by 2. Multiplied to 6 by 11. 6 by 11 is a proper fraction, so I will keep it as it is. So now the question becomes 10 by 3 into 11 by 2 into 6 by 11. So 10 by 3 is an improper fraction, 11 by 2 is an improper fraction, and 6 by 11 is a proper fraction. So improper fraction multiplied to improper fraction multiplied to proper fraction. So improper fraction multiplied to improper fraction multiplied to proper fraction. Now let us do the steps. Step number 1 is label all the numerators separately and label all the denominators separately. So first let us label all the numerators separately. The numerators are 10, 11 and 6. So let us say 10 is A, 11 is B and 6 is C. So we have labeled the numerators as A, B and C. Now let us label all the denominators separately. The denominators are 3, 2 and 11. So let us say 3 is P, 2 is Q, 11 is R. So we have labeled the denominators as P, Q and R. Now step number 2 is form all possible pairs of numerator and denominator. So now we have to form all possible pairs of numerator and denominator. So first we are going to take the numerator 10 and form all numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 10. So one numerator denominator pair is 10 by 3. So AP. Another numerator denominator pair with numerator 10 is 10 by 2. So AQ. Another numerator denominator pair with numerator 10 is 10 by 11. So AR. So these are the three numerator denominator pairs with numerator 10. 10 by 3, 10 by 2 and 10 by 11. Now let us take the numerator 11 and form all possible numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 11. One is 11 by 3, so BP. Another is 11 by 2, so BQ. Another is 11 by 11, so BR. So these are the three numerator denominator pairs with the numerator 11. One is 11 by 3, another is 11 by 2, another is 11 by 11. Now let us take the numerator 6 and form numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 6. One is 6 by 3, so CP. Another is 6 by 2, so CQ. And another is 6 by 11, so CR. So these are the three numerator denominator pairs with the numerator 6. One is 6 by 3, another is 6 by 2, another is 6 by 11. So we have formed all the possible numerator denominator pairs. Now the next step is reduce all the pairs that are formed in step number 2 to their lowest form. So we have to reduce all these numerator denominator pairs to their lowest form. So first numerator denominator pair is AP. AP. So 10 by 3. 10 by 3 we cannot reduce it any further. So this is as it is. Next numerator denominator pair is AQ. AQ. 10 by 2. Yes, 10 by 2 we can reduce it further because both of them are divisible by 2. So I will divide both 10 and 2 by 2 and reduce it further. So 10 divided by 2 is 5 and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 5 by 1, and now you cannot reduce it any further. So AQ is reduced to its simplest form. Next is AR. So AR. 5 by 11 because A is now 5. A is no longer 10. A is now 5. So AR is 5 by 11. Now 5 by 11 you cannot reduce it any further. So this is already in its lowest form. Next numerator denominator pair is BP. B is 11. P is 3. So 11 by 3. 11 by 3 you cannot reduce it any further. So BP is already in its lowest form. 11 by 3 cannot be reduced any further. So BP is already in its lowest form. Next is BQ. B is 11, Q is 1. So 11 by 1. 11 by 1 also you cannot reduce it any further. So BQ is already in its lowest form. Next is BR. B is 11, R is 11. Yes, 11 by 11. This can be reduced to its lowest form because both of them are divisible by 11. So I will divide both of them by 11 and reduce it to its lowest form. 11 divided by 11 is 1. 11 divided by 11 is 1. So BR now becomes 1 by 1. And this is the lowest form of BR. So BR is reduced to the lowest form. Next is CP. C is 6. P is 3. Yes, 6 by 3. So this can be reduced to the lowest form because both of them are divisible by 3. So I will divide both of them by 3 and reduce it to its lowest form. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So 2 by 1, and this is the lowest form. You cannot reduce it any further. So Cp is 2 by 1 in its lowest form. Cq, C is 2, Q is 1. So 2 by 1, this you cannot reduce it any further. So Cq is in the lowest form. Cr, C is 2, R is 1. So 2 by 1, this also you cannot reduce it any further. So we have reduced all the numerator denominator pairs to their lowest form. And then the next step is multiply all the numerators to get the numerator answer and multiply all the denominators to get the denominator answer. So let us first multiply all the numerators to get the numerator answer. So the numerator is 5, 1 and 2. So 5 into 1 into 2. 5 into 1 is 5. 5 into 2 is 10. So the numerator answer is 10. And the denominator answer is, so we have to multiply all the denominators to get the denominator answer. So 1, 1 and 1. So the denominators are 1, 1 and 1. So 1 into 1 into 1. 1 into 1 is 1, 1 into 1 is 1. So the denominator answer is 1. So 10 by 1, and 10 by 1 is nothing but 10. 10 by 1 means 10 divided by 1, and 10 divided by 1 is 10, because anything divided by 1 is that number itself. So 10 by 1 is 10. So you can write 10 by 1 as simply 10. So 10 is the answer for question number 4. And now let us do the last question. So the last question is 2 3 by 5 multiplied to 4 3 by 4 multiplied to 9 by 26 multiplied to 2 1 by 3. So here the fraction 2 3 by 5 is getting multiplied to the fraction 4 3 by 4, which is getting multiplied to the fraction 9 by 26, which is getting multiplied to the fraction 2 1 by 3. So this question is all about multiplication of fractions. So 2 3 by 5 is a mixed fraction, 4 3 by 4 is also a mixed fraction, 9 by 26 is a proper fraction, and 2 1 by 3 is also a mixed fraction. So first I will convert all these mixed fractions into improper fractions. So 2 3 by 5, when I convert it into improper fraction, it becomes 2 into 5 is 10, 10 plus 3 is 13, so 13 by 5 multiplied to 4 3 by 4. Let us convert this mixed fraction into improper fraction. So 4 into 4 is 16. 16 plus 3 is 19. So 19 by 4. So 4 3 by 4, when I convert it into improper fraction, it becomes 19 by 4 into 9 by 26. This is a proper fraction, so I will keep it as it is, into 2 1 by 3. This is a mixed fraction, so let us convert it into improper fraction. So 2 1 by 3 becomes 2 into 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7, so 7 by 3. So 2 1 by 3, when I convert this mixed fraction into improper fraction, it becomes 7 by 3. So 13 by 5 into 19 by 4 into 9 by 26 into 7 by 3. So improper fraction multiplied to improper fraction multiplied to proper fraction multiplied to improper fraction. So improper fraction multiplied to improper fraction multiplied to proper fraction multiplied to improper fraction. Now step number 1 is label all the numerators separately and label all the denominators separately. So first let us label all the numerators separately. The numerators are 13, 19, 9 and 7. So let us say 13 is A, 19 is B, 9 is C, D is 7 is D. So the numerators are A, B, C, D. Now let us label all the denominators separately. The denominators are 5, 4, 26 and 3. Let us say 5 is P, let us say 4 is Q, let us say 26 is R, let us say 3 is S. So the denominators are P, Q, R and S. So we have labeled all the numerators and denominators. Step number 2 is form all possible pairs of numerator and denominator. So this we will do it fast. This step will do it fast because you now know how to form pairs of numerator and denominator. First we will take the numerator 13 and form all possible numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 13. So one numerator denominator pair is 13 by 5, so AP. Another numerator denominator pair with this numerator 13 is 13 by 4, so AQ. Another numerator denominator pair with this numerator 13 is 13 by 26, so AR. And another numerator denominator pair with this numerator 13 is 13 by 3, so AS. So these are the 4 numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 13. Now let us take this numerator 19 and form numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 19. One is 19 by 5, so BP. Another is 19 by 4, so BQ. Another is 19 by 26, so BR. Another is 19 by 3, so BS. So these are the 4 numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 19. Now let us take the numerator 9 and form numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 9. One is 9 by 5, so CP. Another is 9 by 4, so CQ. Another is 9 by 26, so CR. Another is 9 by 3, so CS. So these 4 are numerator denominator pairs with the numerator 9. And now let us take the numerator 7 and form numerator denominator pairs with this numerator 7. So one is 7 by 5, so DP. One is 7 by 4, so DQ. One is 7 by 26, so DR. And one is 7 by 3, so DS. So these 4 are numerator denominator pairs with the numerator 7. So we have formed all possible numerator denominator pairs. The next step is reduce all the pairs that are formed in step 2 to their lowest form. So now we have to reduce all these pairs of numerator denominator to their lowest form. The first numerator denominator pair is AP. So 13 by 5. 13 by 5 you cannot reduce it any further. This is already in its lowest form. Next is AQ. AQ 13 by 4. This also you cannot reduce it any further. This is already in its lowest form. Next is AR 13 by 26. Yes, this you can reduce it to its lowest form because both of them are divisible by 13. So you can reduce AR to its lowest form. So I will divide both 13 and 26 by 13 and reduce it to its lowest form. 13 divided by 13 is 1, 26 divided by 13 is 2. So AR becomes 1 by 2. So we have reduced AR to its lowest form. AS. Now A is 1. A is no longer 13. A is 1. So AS. So 1 by 3. S is 3. So 1 by 3 you cannot reduce it any further. This is already in its lowest form. Next is BP. B is 19, P is 5. 19 by 5 you cannot reduce it any further. BQ. BQ 19 by 4 also you cannot reduce it any further. This is already in its lowest form. BR. B is 19, R is 2, R is no longer 26, R is now 2, so 19 by 2, 19 by 2 also you cannot reduce it any further. BS, BS, B is 19, S is 3, 19 by 3 also you cannot reduce it any further. CP, C is 9, P is 5, 9 by 5 you cannot reduce it any further. CQ, CQ, 9 by 4, 9 by 4 also you cannot reduce it any further. CR, CR, 9 by 2, R is 2, so 9 by 2 you cannot reduce it any further. CS, CS, C is 9, S is 3, 9 by 3 you can reduce it because both of them are divisible by 3, so you can reduce 9 by 3 to its lowest form by dividing both of them by 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3 and 3 divided by 3 is 1. So it becomes 3 by 1. So CS becomes 3 by 1 and this is the lowest form of CS. So 3 by 1. CS we have reduced to the lowest form. DP, D is 7, P is 5. 7 by 5 you cannot reduce it any further. DQ, D is 7, Q is 4. 7 by 4 you cannot reduce it any further. DR, D is 7, R is 2. 7 by 2 you cannot reduce it any further. And DS, D is 7, S is 1, S is now 1. So 7 by 1 you cannot reduce it any further. So we have reduced all the numerator denominator pairs to the lowest form. Now the next step is multiply all the numerators to get the numerator answer and multiply all the denominator to get the denominator answer. So let us do that. So we will write the answer over here. The numerators we will multiply first. So the numerators are now 1, 19, 3 and 7. These are the numerators. So we will multiply them to get the numerator answer. So 1 into 19 into 3 into 7. So 1 into 19 is 19. 19 into 3 is 57. 57 into 7 is, let me do it over here, 57 into 7. 7 7s are 49, carry forward 4, 7 5s are 35, 35 plus 4 39, 399. So when I multiply the numerators I get the numerator as 399. So this is the numerator answer. Numerator answer is 399. When we multiply all the numerators we get 399. So this is the numerator answer. Now let us multiply all the denominators to get the denominator answer. So denominators are 5, 4, 2 and 1. So 5 into 4 into 2 into 1. 5 into 4 is 20, 20 into 2 is 40, 40 into 1 is 40. So the denominator answer is 40. So 399 by 40. This is the answer for question number 5. So this is how we can solve multiplication of fractions.